Hey friends, welcome back to Keep It Real, the podcast where we cut through the noise and talk about what really matters in our relationships, our personal growth, and our everyday life. I'm your host Owin, and this is episode 2 of our series, The Truth About Relationships. Right, so today we are digging into something that affects every single one of us, whether we realize it or not: attachment styles. Does that resonate with you? Do you constantly worry that your partner is going to leave? Or maybe you feel uncomfortable getting too close? Or you might feel pretty secure and balanced? Well, that has a lot to do with the way we bonded with people early in life and how those patterns show up in our adult relationships. Let's talk about anxious, avoidant, and secure attachment styles, how they develop, how they play out, and how we can move towards a healthier connection. So, let's get into it. Attachment styles are the emotional blueprints we form in early childhood. They shape how we connect, how we trust, how we handle closeness in our relationships. They were first researched in the 1950s and 60s by a couple of people, John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, who studied how infants bonded with caregivers. As adults, we carry those attachment patterns with us, believe it or not. There are 4 main styles. So you have secure attachment, that's the first one. Secure attachment: you are comfortable with intimacy and independence. You trust people and you don't fear abandonment. Then you have anxious attachment, where you crave closeness but fear being left or being not good enough. You may seek constant reassurance. Then you have avoidant attachment, where you value independence, often to the point of avoiding closeness. You may shut down when things get too intimate. And then you have fearful avoidant, and this is a mix of anxious and being avoidant. You want to love but you fear it. It often stems from trauma or inconsistent caregiving. These styles, aren't labels to box you in. They are a starting point for understanding how we show up emotionally. So, let's break it down. Anxious attachment: often, you feel insecure or needy. You overthink things, maybe like a text or delay in response. Has a hard time trusting, a partner's love. May stay in a relationship, too long out of fear of being alone. I don't know if that is ringing a bell with somebody. Then you have avoidant attachment. This pulls away when you pull away when things get emotional or intense. Struggles to express needs or feelings. Values control and independence over vulnerability. May ghost or detach under stress. And then you have secure attachment: comfortable with closeness and space, handles conflict very well, doesn't play games or fear emotional honesty. And then you have fearful avoidant: feels drawn to connection but terrified by it. Might self-sabotage or test their partner, and can have intense highs and lows as well. Most people aren't 100% of one style. It's a spectrum. Your attachment styles can even change over time based on relationships and healing. And you know that last word, healing, is so important. So let me tell you about a true story. Someone will call Marcus, that's a pseudonym. Marcus had an avoidant attachment style, though he didn't know it at the time. He grew up in a household where emotions were rarely talked about. When he got into a relationship, he often felt smothered. Anytime someone got too close, or wanted a deeper emotional intimacy, he pulled away. The man was running away. He dated a woman named, an ex-pseudo, Rebecca, we call her Rebecca, who had an anxious attachment style. She needed reassurance and emotional connection. He needed space and quiet. The more she reached out, the more he withdrew, and the more he withdrew, the more she chased. You see what's happening here? Eventually, things blew up. It wasn't because they didn't care about each other. It's because their attachment styles were clashing once. Once, Marcus became aware of his avoidant tendencies, he started therapy. Did it work? Of course. Eventually grew into someone who could show with more emotional presence. Awareness is the first step with these things. So how do we actually work towards secure attachment? Firstly, identify your style. Reflect on your patterns. How do you respond to closeness, conflict, or space? There are great quizzes online to get a basic idea. Talk to your partner. Let them know how you tend to react in relationship. It helps to reduce misunderstanding and builds empathy. Practice emotional regulation, especially if you are anxious or avoidant. Learning to sit with uncomfortable feelings without, reacting impulsively is key. Seek therapy or coaching. Healing old wounds takes time, and having a guide helps you to unpack early emotional experiences. Choose partners who are emotionally available. You can't fix someone's, attachment style for them. Focus on building safety and consistency and not chaos and confusion. Remember, you can grow into secure attachment. It's not about being perfect. It's about being aware, being honest, and willing to do the work. Listen, thanks for listening to this episode of Keep It Real. Understanding attachment styles, is one of the most powerful tools you can have in your relationship toolbox. When you start noticing your own patterns, you open the door, to healing, to empathy and deeper connections. Whether you are anxious, avoidant, secure, or somewhere in between, there's always room to grow. And if you found this episode helpful, please consider subscribing, rating or sharing it with someone who needs it. Next week we are diving into something a little spicy. Red flags. Red flags we ignore until it's too late. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and as always, keep it real.